You're listening to Articulate with your hosts, Kevin Kramer and Sean Gillespie, your go-to guys for art tips, techniques, and general artist ramblings. Presented by drawingandcoloring.com.
Hey everybody, welcome to Articulate, the podcast where we talk about everything art, and we are in the Shawno's lair today.
Casa de Shawno.
Yes.
And what are we talking about today? I think we have this is our first special request.
This is a special request podcast topic.
It's exciting.
And the topic is...
It's talent.
Talent.
Today we're talking about talent. This one goes out to Julian. Julian.
Julian.
We
You
decided
know
it was
who
Julian.
you are.
Yeah, you know who you are. And Julian wanted to know what is talent, whether it's something that you, in art particularly, obviously, and it's called Articulate, people.
Yeah.
And he wanted to know whether it was something that you have to have or whether it's something that you can
build.
manufacture or build over time.
Right.
And I think that's a pretty good question. So we're going to do a podcast on that today.
There you go.
It's exciting.
It is pretty fun.
But we like to start these podcasts with a definition.
Got one right here.
And Kevin has one.
The talent definition that I found, this is Google search. You can look it up yourself.
On Google.
If you don't believe
call
me.
it Google search.
It's right there. And what we call talent on Google, as according to Google, is natural aptitude or skill.
Wow. That is a very in-depth definition there.
That pretty much takes...
All right. Well, now that we know what talent is, podcast over.
There you go.
All right.
No practice needed.
So the question here is, in art, whether or not you have to have talent, or whether or not if you're non-talented or not artistic, whether if you practice hard enough, you can get it. So it's a question of whether you have to have natural talent or whether,
Can just...
practice gives you swing. That's the question.
Yeah, it is.
Baseball. Talk baseball here, people. Baseball.
Can you hit the ball naturally?
Right. Are you the natural, like Roy Hobbs?
Or can you manufacture
Speaking
that?
of, side note, read the book The Natural. That guy is way more of a jerk than the movie. Yeah, Roy Hobbs is awesome in the movie. He's like your hero. And in the book, he's a horrible person.
I don't even know what movie that is.
The Natural.
I'm going to have to see it.
Talking about talent.
All right.
Can't talk about talent without the natural.
We went off course.
They go together.
Okay.
It's relevant.
So,
all right.
Talent.
So talent.
Can you just...
They know the question.
Be better?
All right, so here's my thoughts on this. And I didn't actually know that I had thoughts on this.
Until just now?
Until just this second. Right now. No, actually, I was in a job interview. This was about 7 or 8 years ago.
All right.
And I went in for a job interview for an art teacher. Now, I have no teaching experience, but it was a charter school, and I had artistic experience, so it made sense that I would be an art teacher.
Sure.
So I was very confident. So I went in and I was interviewing for them, and they asked, "Well, what would you hope to achieve as a teacher of art?"
Right.
And I was like, "Well, even if I can't get every kid to be an amazing artist, I would at least like to teach them an appreciation of art." I felt like that was a good answer, right? I felt like that was a winner.
Enough.
I was like, nailed it. And I was all ready to take my job and walk out of there. And one of the teachers who was interviewing me said, "Well, what do you mean?" And I'm like, "What do you mean, what do I mean? I just said it and nailed it." And she's like, "No."
Not really.
Not really. She's like, "I feel like art is something every kid can succeed at." And I'm like, "Okay, I see what you're doing there. I see. And you're right. You're right.
She was probably gunning for that job.
Right. She wasn't gunning for it, but she was trying to get me into a corner, and it was working. And I was like, "Well," I'm like, "I see what you're saying, and you're right, but I feel like there's going to be some students that have a natural aptitude towards art and love it and are naturally very talented, and I feel like other students would have to work harder at it." And she's like, "Well, it's not like mathematics where some kids can do it and some kids can't." And I was like,
"What?"
Exactly. I was like, did a teacher just say that to me, that some kids can't do math?
Some kids are just plumb
dumb.
dumb.
Some kids just can't do math, people. And so I was like, and so I got a little like flustered, and I got a little pissed, as a matter of fact. And
I can imagine.
I was like, actually, it's exactly like mathematics, where some people are naturally good at it, and some people naturally have an aptitude toward it because their brain works that way, and some people have to work harder to achieve it. And I was getting flustered like I am right now because she's crazy.
You're either a Goodwill Hunting or you're not.
And it was one of those things where, like, after I said it with a little too much la passion, and the room was a little awkwardly quiet after that. And I was like, I'm just gonna go because I did not get this job.
Clearly botched this one.
This one is not gonna be. I will not be employed here in the near future.
And if I did, I would leave very soon after.
But that was something that, like, until somebody tested me on it, I did not know that I had strong feelings about this. But I believe that, and to this day, I feel like there are gonna be some people who have a natural aptitude toward art, and some people who are naturally good at it, and there are other people who have to work harder to achieve that same level.
Yeah, I would agree with that completely. It's if you take anything that you've been doing for any amount of time, you're gonna get better at it. It goes without saying. Yeah. Like if I start something when I'm 5, and I'm continue to work at it every single day until I'm like 20.
You're going to be all right at it.
If I'm still drawing the way I drew when I was 5, then I either didn't want to be doing it, or I had horrible teachers.
Yeah, that's some problems there. You didn't give it your all, hopefully.
You didn't do something.
Or maybe you did.
And if you did, that's fine, I guess. But
well,
you had to make some improvement.
Right. There's definitely going to be improvement. So I think that there is, I think it's a combination of both. I think that some people are naturally going to be good at art and they don't have to practice. And to be honest, I was in art classes when I was real little, and then there was a good college years there where I was in advertising, but I didn't really paint or work on my art. And then when I came back to it, it was still there, thank goodness.
Right.
But
it's like riding a bike.
Right.
But you already learned how to do it. You just build up on your skills.
Yeah, you
over
just
time.
build. But had I continued to build, I'd be way better than I am now. And
exactly.
I mourn those lost years. I see those kids today. They're so good. So good. I could have been you, kid, but I got distracted.
And a fight with a teacher.
Yeah. But anyway, I feel like it's exactly like math. I feel like I can learn math. I can do math. It's not easy for me. I got to do my homework.
Yeah, it's a matter of do I want to.
No, I don't want to do math.
Nobody wants to do math. Definitely not on camera.
That is hard. I don't even measure when I do my murals anymore. I'm just like, that looks like 40 feet.
Sure.
I'll fix it in Photoshop.
Yeah.
Because I hate measuring. I hate math.
It is, yeah. But again, I think talent can take you, like you said, to a certain point. But after that, you have to practice. You gotta
hone the skills.
Yeah, you have to sharpen the blade.
Yeah, absolutely. And especially if you're getting more technical.
Definitely.
Yeah.
If you're doing like line work and perspectives and all these different things, that's not something that you just know talent-wise.
No,
it's just not born knowing how to draw 3D perspective.
Right.
It's just not. You have to work and practice and just get clarity on how you're actually going to do certain things before you can do them.
Yeah, but you can also do that, and there could be somebody who's just a little more naturally talented, and they jump ahead, and you're like, I hate that person, I want them to die, and then you stab them with your pencil, and then you go to jail, and as a result, you have years and years to hone your craft.
And beat them.
Yeah.
We didn't say that on this podcast.
And when you get out of prison, 10 years, 20 years, you're going to be way better than the guy who had kids and didn't do any art.
Exactly.
Because you put in the time to hone your craft.
While in jail.
Yeah, while he did nothing. See?
Not that we're condoning that.
No, that's not the best way to go.
No.
That's not the path you should take.
Just practice.
I'm just saying,
One way to do it actually is to get around better people.
Yeah, that's absolutely a way.
If you get around people that are just way above your skill level, might be a little deterring.
This reminds me of Raphael hanging out with Michelangelo.
Oh, does it?
Possibly because I'm reading a book on that very subject.
Which you can find on reading and recommended readings.
Anyway, but yeah, he was a big borrower, as almost all artists are,
yeah.
But he borrowed heavily from Leonardo da Vinci, which, if you're going to borrow from somebody, that's the guy,
get it from
right?
a master.
Yeah. And then when the Sistine Chapel was being painted, of course, it was totally different, revolutionized the mural and the fresco world. So then he went back actually to the his painting, the School of Athens, and redid one of the figures, possibly to be Michelangelo.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So, and it's kind of cool because it was an homage, but also kind of an inward joke. I forget the philosopher that character was supposed to be, the Michelangelo-esque character, but it's a philosopher. They're all Euclides or whatever. They all have names like that. But anyway, he was a philosopher who was a real curmudgeon and a real just unhappy, angry guy, and so it was kind of a pointed. It was like an homage, but also kind of a jerk, Michelangelo. And here you are being this guy who is also a jerk. So you don't really know if it's a compliment or an inward joke. But either way, he definitely, after seeing the Sistine Chapel, went back, chipped away a section of his mural, and changed it added a character who was in much more modern clothes and things like that, which is interesting. And he was definitely a talented. I think it's probably inarguable. I'm going to say this.
Oh, inarguable.
Inarguable.
That's a hard word to say.
It is a hard word, but I articulated it well.
Very well.
And used the name of our podcast right then. But he was a better painter. I mean, Michelangelo was a sculptor, not a painter.
Right.
And so he was a more talented painter, but at the same time, probably less known. Yeah. So talent doesn't necessarily mean more fame.
Yeah.
Which is an interesting thing.
That's very interesting, because when I was in high school, that was the first art class I'd ever been in. I had never took anything in anything before that. And then when I got in there were people in that class that were way above my skill level. Yeah. That was just like, what the
Did you stab them with your pencil?
The what? It's like, how are you doing that? Right. And that's how I got better.
Yeah.
I got around all of those different techniques and all these different people, all these different ideas, kind of like a melting pot.
Yeah.
And then
you take what you like. I like this, I like that, I like this, I like that.
Exactly.
And then I think that might even be a rap song.
Like this and like that.
Yeah, like this and like that. And
I'm not even gonna keep going.
Come on. I think we had something there.
Yeah.
It was about to get magical.
Okay, so.
But anyway, so talent is great, but it's not everything. Look at Keanu Reeves, right?
It's true.
I mean, he's not the most talented actor in the world. Not bad.
No.
Not knocking Keanu for all you Keanu lovers out there.
But
he's no Marlon Brando.
No. But he's getting there.
I'm going to let that one go.
All it takes is...
But my point is he's super famous.
But he's still practicing.
Well, he's honing...
Every movie is a practice.
Yeah. He's working on it.
But that's what I'm getting at, is everything you're doing is still building and building up more and more talent until you get to the Brando, who probably started where Keanu Wishy was right now when he first started.
But that brings up a good point, because Keanu will never be Marlon Brando.
Right.
Ever.
But Marlon Brando will never be Keanu.
Yeah. No. I mean, he's not in the same time period, so we've got that to go. But I mean,
I think
we can see Marlon Brando being like, "Hello, my name is Neo."
Exactly.
I'm in the Matrix.
It comes down.
Marlon Brando.
It's really, really bad.
I was ignoring it. We'll do Robert De Niro.
I was ignoring it.
My mom in the Matrix. All right.
That was good.
All right, we're getting off topic. But my point is that Keanu can probably work as hard as he ever wanted to do and not achieve Brando level, right?
I would say that, but I think it's more than just taking into account talent or skill. It's more of, it takes into account style too.
Yeah. So style. One is probably more appealing than somebody else's style, and that's totally separate from talent.
Exactly.
So there's more factors than just talent.
There is definitely more factors. There's more of, it's like modern furniture versus Victorian furniture. Those two different things might be... I don't know
anything about furniture.
They might be done with it. I'm just going with the look.
Okay.
They might both be of the same quality, same craftsmanship and talent,
right?
But they look totally different, and you might like one or you might like the other.
I got you. So just based on, just style, the stylistic.
Right. So you might take into account what talent is as the way it looks or the way it's...
So you can't compare apples and oranges.
Right.
As they say.
Exactly.
That's a saying.
You might like clean lines. You might like big fluffy couches.
Right. Okay. All right. Making sense. So I feel like we're making a little headway here. Yeah. So what we're saying is talent is important.
Talent will give some people a head start, but without practice, it's going to go nowhere.
It's going to dwindle.
It's going to go away quick, and other people will pass you.
Speaking of Marlon Brando...
Going back.
Yeah, going back. A Bronx Tale. There's nothing worse than wasted talent, and nothing sadder than wasted talent.
There you go.
There we go. Bringing it back around to the Brando.
Pulling it full circle. Now you gotta stop.
I can do the face.
That's not.
I can't do the voice.
You can do the face. That's not. That's half the acting, I guess. Not really.
That's not bad. That's good.
That's a De Niro Brando mix.
That's De Niro.
That's
De Niro.
All right, let's just get away from that.
So apparently, I do not have a talent for impersonations.
But if you practice,
I would.
You might get better.
I should practice with walking. That's the one that everybody likes. Anyway,
that one's hard to do.
The point is, if I'm doing a one, yours was better. That was good. It's got a natural talent.
I have practiced that one secretly.
Oh, in the shower.
See how that goes?
We know.
Practice.
Secret practicing.
Practice makes perfect. Talent dies without practice.
Okay. Yeah, I like that. I'll go with that. Yeah. I'll go with that.
Yeah.
So, if you got talent, keep practicing. But the main thing I want to stress, and the most important thing, is only do it if it's fun. You know? Especially at the early stages. You know, once you get older and it becomes a job, and then do it to hone your craft, and do it because you're dedicated, and it becomes more of an obsession or a compulsion. At my point, it's definitely, I would say, compulsion.
There's no way I could stop doing art or anything.
But I wouldn't even say that. I mean, I enjoy it, but I wouldn't say that it's like, I don't do it. I'm like, I'm so happy right now.
Right.
You know, I do it and I'm like, no, I need to figure this out. I need to, it's
a challenge.
It's a challenge or a vested interest.
Right.
And for me, like I say, it's a compulsion. It's like, I got to do it because I got to get this thing out here so that I can get it out of here and not go crazy.
Exactly.
Yeah. So... when you get to that stage, which sounds really pleasant...
Really?
Then,
way to sell art.
Right. Then you can start worrying about, honing it and fine-tuning it. But until then, enjoy it. Have fun. Yeah. Because if it's not fun, you're not going to want to spend hours and hours and hours drawing and honing your craft.
Exactly.
And then that's where the talent kind of comes in a lot, I think, too.
Yeah. I mean, if you're not passionate about it, you're not going to do it, and then you quit.
Yeah. And but if you're naturally more talented toward it, I think
it might give you an initial confidence boost,
right,
to continue doing it,
right.
But after a while, if you're not passionate about it and you don't keep practicing, it's just gonna go away.
But my point is, I think a lot of people call something talented or call people talented when it's actually just their interest, right. And it's something that they have fun doing,
right?
And it's like, I have fun playing baseball. I'm gonna play baseball for every day for. I keep going to baseball because talent and baseball are just connected in my brain.
Right now.
They are, because...
right. No, it's like if... He's so talented at that, but they don't see all the hours of work.
Yeah, really, he already sat there, and really it started from a place of honing the craft, and they're just calling it talent.
Right.
So there is a natural talent that, like you say, can fade if you don't practice, but then there's also what people often call talent, which is just a dedication because you love it, and it's fun.
And then there's always that storyline of... he came out of nowhere.
Yeah, nobody comes out of nowhere.
When he's been working on it for like 10 years in the background.
That's what happens. And that's why, like, when you see a writer and you're like, oh, he's a big writer, and now he's got 10 books. Wow, he's writing really fast. And he's like, no, he's been writing for 10 years and nobody cared.
Exactly.
And now you do care, and he's got it all coming out. And that's what's going to happen, baby. That's what's But...
he's been having those 10 books in the storage room.
Yeah, he's just
no one wanted
waiting. He's got this pile of paintings that nobody cares about. And they will. No, but
and then you make the big one.
Then you make it.
And then everybody explodes.
And then everybody cares. And then you get it all out there.
And then they're super limited. And then you go.
Magic happens.
And then your voice goes up.
Right.
And then your prices go up.
When I get excited. So, what have we learned, Kevin? Let's sum this up here.
Let's wrap this up.
Yeah.
I think the main idea from this is that talent fades, practice will build.
Yeah, talent will fade if you don't practice.
Yes.
Yeah, because you don't want to make all these people terrified.
Right.
My talent is going to go away. No. If you keep practicing, it'll keep building.
It's like riding a bike.
Right. Yes.
And if you lost my train of thought.
That often people mistake talent for just dedication and work and a passion
right.
and enjoy it. But above all else, if you don't enjoy it, don't make yourself do it. Like, I don't enjoy math. Right. I had to do it in school.
I don't now.
And I did okay, but I don't sit there and read books on math. Well, unless it's physics. Physics gets pretty interesting because you get into some weird stuff.
Yeah.
But I don't understand it because I don't know the math. But should have paid attention to the math. But anyway, so the point is, do it if you love it, and you will naturally get better.
If you have an extra propensity for something, it'll give you a little confidence boost to keep going. But if you're not really interested in it, you're not going to practice, you're not going to do it, you're going to quit. So make sure it's something that you're interested in, and then hone it.
And it reminds me of a quote I saw in a movie. And I don't even remember what the movie was. I remember the movie was not interesting at all. But the character had like a catchphrase that she kept saying, which is, if anybody can do it, I can do it. Otherwise, it can't be done at all. And I like that.
That's a good.
And I say it all the time. And it's not true. There are a lot of things people can do that I can't do. But I like the phrase, and I say it a lot, because basically, if another person can do it, it is inspiring. And if another person can do it, you have the ability to do it too. It may not be your natural ability, you may not be, but if you work hard, you can do it.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it can't be done at all.
Exactly. If someone else can do it, that's what I always have in my head too. Is if somebody else can do it, then I can definitely do that.
Yeah. I just have to figure out how they did it, and if you try and you fail, you might end up with something better, or at least in your own voice, which is not bad.
Yeah. That's what I take. Every failure is a learning experience.
There's really no failures in art. There's no failure. You are a winner.
You're a winner. Everyone's a winner.
Everybody.
That's a song too, but I'm not gonna go down there.
All right, we're not gonna go there. So that's talent.
There you go.
According to us,
talent in a nutshell, but practice to make perfect.
Practice gives you swing.
Practice gets you to Carnegie Hall. All right.
So
there you go.
Tune in and
See
email.
Next week. If you have any more suggestions for podcasts, you want to hear something, go ahead. Hit that subscribe button. If you're watching on YouTube, hit that subscribe button again. Or leave a comment below. And check out the recommended readings. We have that Michelangelo and the Pope's Ceiling.
Yeah, by Ross King. It's a good
He's
book.
reading there.
Good book.
I'll have to pick that one up.
Ross King's a great writer.
Matches my shirt.
I like it.
All right. Well, we'll see you next week when hopefully we may have an interview or so. Or we'll see what's going on. But, all right. Well, we'll see you next week.
Folks.
Later.
You've been listening to Articulate with Kevin and Sean. Subscribe on iTunes or check them out on drawingandcoloring.com. Always reminding you to keep it simple.